Hey guys, how we doing today? Listen, I've been sick. My computer's been down. Gave me a little time to think, and I thought maybe a little training series might help you guys out. I get a lot of questions about, what do you have to do and what do you have to know, and so I thought maybe a little education along the way. We'll do a little video series on the different elements. First one's going to be building structure. That's going to be today, right after this. And then we'll do some roof structure, let you know the different names of them, and, just go on from there. So I thought maybe this might help you out. And if you're on the wire, whether you want to do it or not, then maybe this will interest you a little bit, and, maybe you'll want to do the job too. So if you do, you can find the information in the bottom at the bottom where I can help you a little bit if you're in the certain states that we deal with, and just go ahead and check that out. If you're not in those states, you may want to purchase a book that we sell that does national and regional all over the United States. So check the description for that too, and let's get on with the inspection series. Okay, so we're going to start off with the classification of construction code. It's called ISO. And the first ISO 1 is what a frame house is. Basically, a lot of this has to do with burn, how fast it burns, and basically that. So it don't matter what's on the roof, if it's clay tiles or anything. It is the burn, how the time it takes to burn the thing down. And the frame here is one of the easiest ones. It can be a flat roof, it can be a hip roof, it can be a gable roof, actually a shed type roof. Anything from everything down is wood. Most of the time when you see a great gable roof, you can almost 99% of the time can say that is wood up there. So the hardest one for figuring out a frame type building is when they put a stucco surface on it. It basically really looks like a block with stucco on it. So sometimes you can tell by knocking on it a little bit. If it's brick, it's gonna have a thud, more than when you hit the wood. It has a different sound to it. So that's something you can check on. It's just gonna be a little experience. The best way for this is if you have a good public records. They're basically gonna tell you if it's block or wood. So I guess that's it for frame. Okay guys, the next one is jointed masonry. This is ISO 2. Basically what it is a block on the bottom with wood in the roof area. So you can see on these examples where the roof is basically shingle. This can also be a flat roof if it's wood. So what I didn't mention before is when you go in a place, especially commercial, you want to look at the roof, inside. So if you go back into a storage room or somewhere in the back, sometimes that is open and you'll get to take a shot of what is holding that roof up. Is it steel? Is it wood? You know, you want to look at that as much as you can, and sometimes, you know, you just can't. There's just like if you go to an office, you just can't, and it's something you just have to try to figure out. Look in public records and see if there's anything in there. But you can also take your camera pole, say it's one of those drop-down ceilings, and you can just kind of lift one up, maybe in the back somewhere where it's not as noticeable, or in the bathroom or something, and see, you know, always take a flashlight with you and see if you can see, even if you can't get a shot, if you can see it, at least you have a good idea. You can say, I saw it. It's better if you get a photo. And a lot of times when you're doing commercial buildings, they are going to want to see a shot if you can get it. So sometimes it'll come up and it'll say, you know, did you get a photo shot of the interior roof supports? And if you say no, in my case, the answer is it's covered. You know, if you have to say no, it's covered. Even sometimes they ask on homes and stuff, and you know, they have soffits and you can't see, you know, what it is. Even though you know what it is, you can't see it, you can't get a photo of it, so you have to put covered. But yeah, pretty much a lot of the houses that and commercial buildings that have block, you can tell. You can either, you know, tap on it and it's a thud. When you hit it, it's a thud. And you know, if it has a frame roof on it, you'll know it. If it's shingle and it's, you know, a frame roof, you know that's jointed masonry. If it's flat, that's when the picture really kind of helps. Okay guys, the next one is ISO 3 non-combustible. Basically this one is purely metal. Metal sides, metal roof, metal decking, everything's metal. Real easy one to figure it out. I wanted to mention also, there is variations. Now I did a building the other day, and I should have tried to put it up here, but it was probably 60% block, and there was metal all the way up. And I've come across areas where it's 5 foot off the ground, the block, and the rest is metal. But it still has a metal structure. But you need to, on my reports, there's a section there for construction, and it actually has like a calculator. You put in, let's say if it's a mix, you put in 60% block and 40% metal, and it's going to tell you, and most likely it's going to drop it down to non-combustible in that case. But you know, there's all kinds of cases, even houses. All right, so I meant to mention this before. If you have a block house, like a lot of the houses in Florida are block on the first floor but wood on the second. So there's variations, and that's where that little calculator type thing, you know, it's basically a construction calculator type software, and it just figures it out for you, and you don't have to, you know, figure it all out. But you can see in these pictures the big metal rafters and you know, everything about this. You can tell what it is. This one that we just passed by has nothing in the center. It's a Quonset hut, but it's load bearing. All the steel is basically a load bearing, and so it's still, you know, we're talking about burn rate, and it's still in ISO 3. Alright, so this one is fairly easy. The only time it isn't is if you can't see the the roof, but if you see the whole outside is metal, and this isn't always true because I have seen smaller buildings that are wood with metal on them, and so you just gotta, look, use your eyes, and if you can't see anything, you ask. Sometimes if the person owns the building, they will know. Even if they put in a new roof, sometimes they will know, because if they had to put wood, if the guy says, well, we need some plywood up there, we need, wood structure up there, then, he knows that there's wood up there. So, yeah, ask the owner or the tenant, they may know. So the next one is ISO 4, Masonry Noncombustible. And this is an old bowling alley they're doing, and you can look and see the roof where it has the metal and the beams across there, and basically you're going to see a lot of these different kind of beams. There's some different pictures in here. A lot of them are basically the same. Sometimes they're bigger and sometimes they're smaller. Depends on the load and how much of a load they're carrying all the way across the roof. A lot of times they'll use beams on long spans. That way, it holds the load and they can have a wide open area. But you see different ones. This is, like I said, the bowling alley. I showed you a photo of the bowling alley. Basically, it's just a block building with a metal type roof, braces or beams, and you can see the metal up there. Sometimes they'll put concrete up there. Sometimes they'll put, let's say, single membrane. They may use a tar and gravel. Sometimes it's just a metal roof, and can't think. Sometimes it's a build-up, or maybe even a roll type seam, seam roof, and that's what you'll see up there if you get a chance to take a shot of it. Now, the only time this is hard is, well, when you go to the building, say like it's an office building, and you can't see it. You can't see these beams. Again, you can ask the owner. If it's a tenant, though, they're not really going to know unless, for some reason there was a roof replaced and they happen to see it. But that's about it. You're going to have to try to figure that out. If you can go, like I said before, go somewhere in the back and see if there's anything. If it's a warehouse type thing, generally they don't close it off. Unless they're using it for office space. ISO 5 is the next one. It's modified or semi-fire resistant. It's protected steel and or concrete or heavy masonry walls and floors. It's semi-wind resistant. A lot of these are precast concrete. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's basically they make the cement somewhere else and they make it into a specific wall, and then they lift them up and attach them. Now, just let me talk about this one right here. This little restaurant, it's kind of like a bomb shelter. I mean, it was solid block all the way around, and it had these, you can see the roof coming up here inside. It had cement with the cement beams. Now they're probably steel with cement around them, but this is the second little place. Usually you see these ISO 5s in bigger buildings, but this is the second time I've seen one in a smaller building. It's somebody really made this thing really cool. And the next one is this thing was like a bomb shelter, I swear to God. It was an apartment complex, 2-story, and all the walls, now I'm talking about all of them, inside and out, except there was a wall on one side of the kitchen and a little bit of the bathroom that was wood, and everything, walls on each side and all four corners were solid block. That thing was really cool, and then it had a cement roof on it, so it was solid. And basically on that type of thing, it's either, you know, bolted or it's structural, you know, how the roof stays on. And you know, basically this particular ISO 5 it's a heavy steel frame or precast steel deck, and you know, a lot of cement with this one right here. That was really cool, and like I said, maybe I've not said this yet, but you will see different things when you're out there. It's just amazing. Sometimes it's never the same thing. Anytime I go out, there's always something that's pretty cool. Okay guys, so I forgot to give you an example of this one. It's a high-rise or medium-rise office building and condos. That's where you're going to see an ISO 5. And the ones I showed you are kind of special. You know, they're just special. There's not that many out there. So most of the time you're going to be going, you know, to a bigger place when you see this kind of construction. Right, so the ISO 6, I'm going to have a hard time with this one because, to tell you the truth, I don't do very many. I think I've only done a couple of them, and they are the same thing. They are high rises, and here's a couple things you could tell. If it's like 5 or 6 stories, it's got a parking lot underneath it, or if it's got a pool on the roof, you can definitely tell that it probably has an ISO 6 rating. And you know, you're going to see this in parking lots, and the initial, you know, write-up on it is reinforced concrete construction, building frame and floors, and or well protected steel and concrete floors, minimum 4 inches. And it says cast in place concrete, precast concrete, or concrete on protected steel. It's wind resistive, sorry. Precast concrete brought in from elsewhere or cast in place is poured on site. That's basically what this ISO 6 is about. And what you're going to see this in is, like I said, parking garages, condos, high-rise office buildings, anything that's, you know, probably 5 or 6 stories high is going to be an ISO 6. So there you go. I hope this really helps you. And the next one we're going to do, the next little training I'm going to do, is probably going to be a lot shorter. It's going to be on the different roof structures, and just to give you an idea of, you know, what they're called, how they look. Alright guys, I really appreciate you. If you are looking for work of this type and you live in one of the states that our company has work in, you're welcome to follow the directions in the description below, and text me your information. Or if you are interested in the book, where I have places all over the United States, it's like a registry for different companies all over the states and regional. That is available too. You just text me and ask for that information. I will get that out to you, and I really appreciate you. Thanks for watching my video. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, and give me a comment. Let me know what you think, or if you have a different subject you want to hear about. Appreciate it.